Great Scott! If my calculations are correct, you are listening to this before your fantasy football drafts have taken place. I've been to the future, and those that followed the advice from the Fantasy Footballer's Ultimate Draft Kit had a spectacular season and withstood many victories. It's almost as if Biff had given each of them a copy of Gray's Sports Almanac. I'd highly recommend heading over to www.ultimatedraftkit.com without any further delay.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. It's a Friday show. Jason Moore, Mike Wright, Andy Holloway, the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Did you notice we're inching towards show 2000 here?
Are we really?
It's pretty darn close.
Yeah.
According to, if my calculations are correct, it's episode 1960.
Yeah, we're heading into hippie zone.
Wow.
That's right. We're getting into the 60s.
Yeah, groovy, man.
Groovy, baby.
Kyle says October. It must be mapped out.
Kyle is
Kyle's with us.
Are we going to
I don't have the button. They took it away from me.
Oh.
go to the
You
Deucer Cam?
You get one day with
because there's some special. Matthew Betts, get in
get in there,
Betts. Hey!
Matthew Betts, Kyle the Borgogan
The East Coasters, the least coasters, I should say,
in the
have
building
flown
today.
in. That made Kyle sad.
And why are they here?
Watch your mouth. Mike.
Oh, he's got a microphone?
They're here because while this is a Friday show, this is not our only Friday show. We have a live show at the Van Buren tonight. Bold predictions, which will be released tomorrow on.
Shouldn't we have been saving our voices this morning?
Yeah,
Like for the big show?
Let's
Wrap this. Maybe we should talk like this.
actually spring is harder on your voice.
I know.
Yeah. So we, if you want, there's a few tickets left. It will sell out before the show tonight.
Yep.
You can please come if you're available. The Megala show tonight, presented by SiriusXM, sponsored by GMC and PetSmart. It's a bold predictions episode. It's going to be awesome. Lots of fun things planned and in store. We're really looking forward to it. But that's why Borg and Betts are here. That's why
Everybody's here.
Everybody,
The whole world is
biggest
here.
loser.
It's going to be fun. And then the Megala Bowl, we shot an email out this morning. That's getting filled up. Draft spots available. Completely free for Foot Clan members. Megalabowl.com. Pick a draft spot between September 4th and the 8th. There are a ton of opportunities to jump into a league and be part of the biggest fantasy football league out there and have a chance to be in the listener league next year, get an ultimate for life. I'm going to bring something else next week that I want to give away from my personal sports card collection that I'm going to give to the winner of the Megala Bowl this year. And a lot of that, I mean, it's just going to be so fun.
I'm bringing
Megalabowl.com.
dirty socks.
Are you contributing autographed or not?
Well, with my scent.
Oh, autographed with your scent. All right. Quick question of the
'Cause they're
day.
dirty.
What part of fantasy football strategy? I mean, today is a fantasy time machine show, so there's a theme here. What part of fantasy strategy has changed the most since the day the podcast started? Which somebody out there had looked up. They found an old episode, and we
don't
had
do that.
We had a definitely don't do that. Back in the bedroom, and we were like, it was like if you could take anybody today for the next
for the 10 years?
for the next
This
10,
was a show after the show. Yeah.
10 years in fantasy, and it's been 10 years since that show.
Wow.
I got a
and-
spoiler. We didn't get the answers.
Well,
right.
you and I were pretty much agreed that it should be Russell Wilson at the time.
Wow.
Remember
and
when
then-
he was great?
I believe Jason.
I want to say I was OBJ.
You were Odell Beckham Jr.
young. Well, it would be like right now being like, I want to, JSN.
Right. I mean, 10 years is
vanish.
a long time. What would the right answer have been at the time? Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry.
I don't know if Henry was in the league at that time.
Devontae Adams.
He was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have been. I
probably,
mean, Matthew
yeah.
Stafford. I mean, there's a.
I don't know. I mean, the truth is there's
it's
not
nobody.
really a good answer to have for 10 years.
Remember
You
how
can't
Adams
play,
stunk back then?
Oh yeah, you
And
can't play a 10-year game. I mean, you've got to play a 3-year game in dynasty terms.
Yeah,
stupid question. I reject the question on principle.
Fantasy strategy, though, that has changed the most, in your opinion, since fantasy started?
The getting later players, as in like, sleepers. I guess you could. It's more of like what has changed is the level of informed fantasy football players. There's still definitely the haves and the have-nots. There's the real casuals who I'll have conversations with, and you know pretty quick. You're like, oh, we're not going deep on this conversation. We're going to keep it pretty shallow. And because they're like, who's a sleeper? You're like, how do you feel about that? Like Tootin. You're like, that's not a sleeper. But so I think that's really where it gets hard, is finding the edge in those players that can break out. Because you have, we did it on our sleeper show. I brought up Pat Bryant, which is like, that's really long odds. But to truly find a sleeper in today's fantasy football with the informed crew, you got to go to a player where you're like, this is right now. It seems impossible.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that has changed over the last decade is
grammar.
Grammar never has been the same. People have just gotten so much smarter, and ADP over time is just so much more accurate year after year after year. We have learned from our mistakes. We see how, like, we're paying more attention to team makeup, to offensive line, to quarterbacks, for wide receivers, all the nerd stuff where ADP gets more and more accurate, where then the strategy is like, okay, if ADP is pretty darn good from front to back, you've got to find the edges. You've got to find the strategy where it's like, and it changes year to year. So, for instance, this year, that middle round running back, the middle round tight end, I feel like your opportunity cost is probably too great in that. For me, I think that's just, you've got it. The strategy changes every couple of years. It's not like one thing. It used to be this way, and now it's a totally different way. Late quarterback can be something where a long time ago that was the only way to play.
Yeah.
Then it became so in fuego. That was the only way to play. Where it's like, actually, now that they're going so late, like, grab the best guy in the middle rounds. So you just have to be basically paying attention to what the current trends are.
The speed at which information is disseminated, news, injuries, is so fast. We've accommodated, like, most leagues, I would say nearly 100% of leagues back then were not fab. These were like waiver priority, and it was open waivers, and it was open free agency, and if news broke, you could be the first one to get there.
If you had a job on a computer,
now you almost need to accommodate the Twitter sphere. You need to accommodate, like, the fact that news gets out there so instantaneously that, having daily waivers run, things that equalize a little bit.
Oh man, I remember. Statute of limitations. I remember, like, driving on the freeway, and you'd be like, zzz, you'd get your, like, sleeper alert, and it's like, so and so is out for the year, and you're like, going 75, you're like, well,
I got a job to do.
I got to put my life on the line because I got to go pick up this backup running back.
That's funny. All right, let's talk news.
News and notes from around the league.
For 1,960 shows so far, I think the people out there know one thing about us, and it is that we just love talking legal implications of player decisions.
It's what I studied to be.
Yeah, a fantasy legal expert. Josh Jacobs was formally charged with 2 misdemeanors related to the May arrest, Tom Pelissero reporting. The charges are formally misdemeanor battery and criminal damage to property. He is scheduled for a court appearance on November 17th. Why is that important? Because the league oftentimes allows the legal process to take place before suspensions take place. Under the NFL CBA, the minimum suspension for domestic abuse is 6 games. That is the minimum. If you listen, by the way, shout out to Drew Davenport, the absolute authority on giving well-rounded, rational, actual legal advice. But I will say this, the minimum suspension for domestic abuse is 6 games in a felony circumstance. It doesn't mean the league can't do that, but he is not being charged with felonies. The suspension is going to be subject to when the legal process happens, when the NFL's review happens, and whether or not, I mean, ultimately this happens in the public eye.
Yep.
If a video, which the reason he was charged is a video was a component of the charges. It was surveillance video of the garage. If that video TMZs its way to the internet, the NFL could be in a position where the commissioner's list becomes immediately relevant.
The exempt list, yes.
But Jason, I know you also read through the entirety of what Davenport and the charges, the paperwork there. So in your estimation, where are you with the situation? Because drafts this weekend, drafts next weekend, and really my eyes have rolled all the way into the back of my head.
For sure. It is an extremely risky pick. You know that what could happen at any time for Josh Jacobs is a video is leaked, his hand is pushed, the suspension is immediate. It could be in the middle of the season. That reality exists. Drew Davenport, you got to follow him on X, unfortunately. I mean, I wish we didn't have to follow the legal expert, but you just have to.
Yeah.
And he really is good. The November date, he was bringing up the fact that does not mean that's when the NFL will do its thing. The November date is, he'll enter a not guilty plea, waive a speedy trial, ask for, something in January or February. So if the video doesn't come out, more likely, and what the NFL has always done, he won't be suspended for anything this year. So it's a risky pick. It's one of those things where you could end up getting an insane value on Jacobs because he's going to drop in the draft a couple of rounds, and you could get him for 17 games, and he doesn't miss anything at all. But at any point in time, you could have him, and he gets you to the fantasy playoffs, and boom.
Yeah,
he's gone.
One of the comments I thought was very insightful from Drew Davenport was the fact that in most respects, this is sort of a good thing for Jacobs, which you would think, no, it's not. But because the felony thing is not hanging over the circumstance, because if they had enough evidence to prove that, they would have charged him with it. Like, there are some answered questions here for Jacobs in his future in the NFL because of the nature of the charges. Yeah, not that it is a good thing that what transpired, obviously. It's just clarity goes a long way in terms of, like, if I had to bet right now, honestly, my bet would be that Jacobs plays, I think, the full season.
I think so, too. I think he probably misses 4 games next year. The charges were moved from felonies to misdemeanors. They were also not classified
as DV.
as domestic violence. Yeah. As property damage. And obviously, I don't know what happened. And
that's another decision fantasy managers can always make, which is, hey, who do you want on your team?
Like Jacobs he's off my board.
Exactly.
I was already fading but it was like, I see a point where if everybody in the league is fading, like there's Josh Jacobs could end up with 10+ rushing touchdowns again. But at this point, I'm just like, I'm not dealing with it. I was already kind of nervous about his efficiency, and so it's just like
now the insurance
someone
backs
else can
in Green
can
Bay. The insurance back is
Marshawn. Oh my,
Marshawn Lloyd, and then in dynasty leagues, please make sure Chris Brooks is on a roster.
He's the real insurance back. He's the insurance back for Marshawn Lloyd.
Right, and that is in fact the starter.
Yes, that's what.
Marshawn Lloyd.
If we think Marshawn Lloyd is going to be able to play a game and exit healthy, I mean, probably wrong.
I would say pretty much everybody around Jacobs in ADP I would take over him. Achane Jr., Scat,
this won't
Javonte,
be his ADP though.
Breece Hall. No, but I mean, let's move it down the list a little bit. Even if you go further down, I mean, like, Jadarian Price or Josh Jacobs. What are you doing on draft day?
Oh, that's
there?
a great one. I would. Oh man.
Or Tootin or Bucky Irving.
That's the area where I could see anyone take.
To?
Yeah,
I think if decisions in the moral side, the ethics side notwithstanding, that's about where I would probably take Jacobs over those guys.
Yeah, when I looked at my rankings, it was basically the split between I believe I put him behind Price and ahead of like Jaylen Warren. So it was like the tier break where he's at the end of the goods.
Okay. Oh, let's move on. Boston Globe, Travion Henderson should be good to go for week 1. I thought we reported on that yesterday, actually. Well, but if we didn't, then there you go.
Bears repeating.
Isaiah Pacheco's knee injury, not a concern according to Dan Campbell.
That's awesome.
I think we reported on that yesterday too.
but now he's dealing with a back injury.
I think all of this news we reported on yesterday.
That one popped in.
We talked about Tutu Atwell
news.
and Jarquez Hunter as well. So
Did we?
We did.
Wow.
Because I had mentioned the fact that the day before I had made the joke that at least Tutu Atwell's not there, and then they traded for him.
Yeah,
So,
I will say that there were rumors of the Puka issue and whether this was imminent of some suspension coming in. McVay specifically said this was not anything related to that. But
all right,
he can also lie.
Yes, they can. We have a fantasy time machine to get to. Let's take a break and jump in.
Marty, you've got to come back with me.
Where?
Back to the future.
Well, that's a drop. I'd like to be 3 minutes long.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Was
that a
people
new,
like the?
was that a new graphic for this year, or had that been?
No, that was last year.
Okay. All right, Papa Josh. Papa Josh in the producer seat this morning, like the lead dog.
Ooh.
Which is why this little stream deck over here on the right is not working.
I was just trying to protect Kyle and Betts.
From the were you actually
from the camera?
Were you actually trying to take away my ability to go to the Deucer Cam?
No.
Go to the Deucer Cam.
Hey, there they are. Look at
You
those
know what?
guys.
As a person
Look at
who
those guys.
cares about
Why is there
production, I don't
such a-
like the proportions.
Yeah, why is there such a gap?
It feels like
between-
4 people. It should be equal, and they're just like.
Yeah.
Is Josh gassy this
I
morning?
was going to say one of us is gassy.
Okay,
We're all trying to find the guy.
there it is. Good old casket face. All right, back on the main camera. All right, the premise of this segment, it's a fun one every year. We are attempting to travel forward in time, figure out who this year's version is of certain players that broke out last year and did special things. So we want to look at the factors that made them valuable and, these players valuable last year, apply those same filters to this year and try to predict who might be this year's, for example, JSN and things like that. So we'll start with finding the 2026 version of Javonte Williams.
Okay.
This was a player. Let me just remind you, he was drafted as the RB39 last year, finished as the RB11. So we're looking for a running back drafted outside the top 24 that is attached to a good offense that could end up as an RB1. Not the RB1, but someone in that top 12.
Yeah, I think, Andy, you should probably go first. In my opinion, it's
You followed more rules.
it's
There
exactly
was one
right.
guy that jumped out as
It's
doing.
who I wanted, and you already had him.
Okay, yeah, he does all the things that Javonte represented last year, which is David Montgomery of the Houston Texans.
Which is like he's kind of been in the league for a while.
Yeah, he's kind of maybe viewed as a little bit boring, and the offense is kind of viewed that way. But here you are on a team that should really be a threat to make a deep run in the playoffs. So they're a good team. They're going to win a lot of games. We want that in fantasy for running backs. Houston themselves sought out a goal line back, committed to David Montgomery. He is drafted outside that top range. I mean, last year the Texans converted a league worst 17% of their attempts inside the 5-yard line. Say what you want about the amount of
That's bad.
utility that Woody Marks may have between the 20s. Is anybody doubting who's in the game when they're around the goal line?
No.
I mean, David Montgomery is that dude. They're favored in 6 of their first 7 games, or 6 of their first 7 games before the bye. To me, Montgomery is this year's Javonte Williams.
Yeah, no, I agree. He fits the bill entirely. My guy
Like doesn't necessarily look real fast.
exactly.
It's kind
Yep,
of a
checks.
little clunky.
That
Yeah.
needs to earn the respect over a bunch of weeks. Like you might not believe one week.
Yeah, it'll be week 12. You're like,
that is
"That'll
true.
work."
Yeah, Javonte at the beginning of last year is like, oh, that was good. He got all the work. So
Nobody's
he's
taking more time to get respect than Javonte
I feel
last
like
year.
we got
Yeah.
to the every year, at some point we do kind of let's redo the first 2 rounds. And it was like, should we? I don't remember if Javonte went in those
I
first
doubt
2
it.
rounds.
I mean, do you
doubt
even feel
we
that
did.
about him now?
Javonte?
Do you feel like he has the respect now that he deserves?
No, he does not.
No, probably not. Whenever I look at his ADP, I still don't want to draft him, and yet I go,
I should.
he should be higher.
Yes.
And we love the Cowboys offense.
He's a bell cow back for the Cowboys offense.
Yeah.
Everything that made him an RB1 last year. So my guy, he is not old busted. He's not a veteran that has traveled around, but he fits everything else in the sense that he's on a good offense. It looks like he's going to get all the work, and he's drafted outside the top 24 backs, and that's Jardion's. Jadarian Price, rookie running back for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, he's a later round drafted guy who seems like he's going to get everything. We worried about the passing volume because he had no passing work in his college career. Early camp reports and videos and comments from coaches are that he is involved in that. And I know you got the Halani bros out there that George Halani's going to be involved.
For the George
all
Hive.
three of them.
But that's, I mean, there were.
Are you kidding me?
There
Are
were-
you kidding me?
No, but last
Are you
year,
freaking kidding me?
think about the Cowboys last year. No. There are Halani bros. There really are.
I know. But,
yes,
and my response to them
Yes.
is, are you kidding me?
the only appropriate response. Last year there were
Come on, man.
the Mafia bros, Bill Maffa and Phil Maffa
And Jaden Blue.
and Jaden Blue is like, oh, he's the
the
explosive
Blue
one.
Bros.
There's just bros everywhere.
I think it's like 25 touches in Halani's career. This is not a guy who's going to push their first round pick off the field. So good offense, drafted late. They could absolutely finish as an RB1. And
Sure.
he is one of the players that I feel like next year you could look back and go like, well, like, duh. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
of course. Why in the world was he not automatically
Well, and not
in the-
even. I mean, you talk about it every year. Like rookie running backs, they are relevant. They
Mhm.
are traditionally like multiples in the top 24. Like it is something that happens, and then you're like, oh wait, it's the Super Bowl champs. If you go watch Hard Knocks on the first episode, like they have some clips from their general manager John Schneider talking with somebody in the draft, with their draft board up and the draft board is blurred. I mean, their first conversation is like, "This is our biggest need." So, like, for the Halani bros out there, like, this is our biggest need. Ken Walker's gone. This is our biggest need. Like, they didn't want him to leave. They just are moving on. Mike, you've never said anything about this guy
No,
before.
I've never said anything other than just drafting him yesterday.
These are all in the very similar range, by the way, in drafts.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. What's crazy is Monty is the lowest of these three right now. ADP for Price is 5'11". Your guy is 6'01", and
Yes.
mine is 6'11".
Per the rules, we were looking for a running back drafted outside the top 24, which Jason and I
we kept to the rules.
We did.
25 and 26.
We just might have a toenail hanging over where the line is. With Jason's running back 25 and my running back 26. Bashal Tutin of the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's not a sure thing that he's going to be the guy, but this is a situation that I 100% want to take a chance on. The Jaguars last year at least were a very high-powered offense. Liam Cohen, returning, and the new opportunity now with Travis Etienne Jr. out of the way for a player last year who converted 5 of his 7 carries inside the 5 for a touchdown. Thank you, Kyle. Among 55 qualifying running backs, 5th in rush success rate, which, reminder again, rush success rate is, are you getting what you need yardage-wise on that down? So it's not it's a better way of looking at yards per carry. Are you getting what you need? And he was 5th in percent of yards after contact because he is a truly explosive athlete. And he was tied with Breece Hall for 11th in forced missed tackle rate. This is a team that I want to bet on who will the guy be. Crod is there, Chris Rodriguez, and
That's the goal line variable.
Yes, and LaQuint Allen is the receiving back variable. I think when it comes to it, that it will end up being Bashal Tutin being like the guy there. Where last year it was the initial depth chart was listed Etienne Jr. or Tank Bigsby is the starter, and they were so locked into that they said we don't need you anymore, Tank. We're just going to have Etienne Jr. be our full-time guy. I think that isn't in the range of outcomes for Tutin, who's not being drafted as a top 24 guy. where a top 12 player is in his ceiling.
Ironically, though, last year I think you were more on the Tank side.
I was.
That he was better than ETN. So maybe they'll be like, see you later, Tootin'.
Hey, things could happen.
Yeah. No, right. Yeah. Well,
I still think Tank's better.
All right, so we found some candidates.
I do too.
for the.
Oh, wow. Yes, Jason.
I want Tank to. It's just such a shame. I feel like.
You talking about my guy last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who we're talking.
Just 1 year
You know,
early.
this whole gag you're doing, you know what really sucks about it? It's not on the show. It's funny.
Yeah.
The problem is now the comments. It's like Trevo's now my guy.
Even
in a bunch of
Even
and I think
better.
some people are not sure if it's a truth or a lie.
It's true.
Okay.
The thing, but here's the thing for your perspective, Andy, is you have 4 shots at my guys. Now.
Yeah. Yeah, it really
Like
works.
if Henderson,
if Tank Bigsby does something great this year, or Henderson does something great,
you're not going to claim that.
I
would.
Gosh. I guess that's better than giving Jason credit.
Yeah.
All right. Finding the 2026 Trevor Lawrence. So what made him great last year? Looking at Horseboy. Insane second half run made him an every week start. His ADP last year was QB 21, ended up as the quarterback 4. We're looking for a quarterback drafted outside the top 12, so that's prerequisite number 1. Either upgraded options in terms of weapons or a change at offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen making the big impact there. And maybe he runs enough to be a fantasy difference maker, or at least fill in some of the gap, right? You want somebody that doesn't have to Peyton Manning, right? You can fill in some of the gap with the legs. Am I going first again?
no, I'll hop in.
Okay.
Because I didn't like mine filling in last
Get
time.
it out of the way.
But I like mine this
Oh,
one.
you do?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I do. I because of the tumult of the off season, and
Can I step out for this one? Do I have to be a
Please,
part
you
of
can
the
at least take your ears out so you don't have to hear it. Kyler Murray, the new quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, is, I think, a much better fantasy pick. He's currently being drafted as the quarterback 17. He is mobile. He rushes well. 55% of all of his 82 career starts have been top 12 quarterback performances. Now you've got a change of scenery. Now you've got an upgraded offensive mind. I mean, when he had Cliff Kingsbury, he was really, really good for fantasy. Things got worse and worse as his career went on, as he got injured. He is now a year removed from the ACL injury. He has Justin Jefferson and a great receiving core. He has a really good offensive mind, and I don't think he's done. He's certainly not like an age where you're like, well, he can't play anymore. So
I think he's dumb.
Nice. I said D-U-N, Andy.
Oh, yes.
Done.
Yes, done.
So where he's being drafted right now in the 13th round is the quarterback 17. It feels he can easily when I look at the late round quarterbacks who could pop into the, be a top 6 option, he is one of a few that just easily stand out to me as I could totally see how that happens.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's difficult though. Of it's been.
I don't want to agree.
Been a long time
He
since
might be right,
Kyler
but
Murray
I don't
has done
want
that.
to.
And yes, he has. You can say, okay, the skill position players at Minnesota are better than what he had in Arizona because Jefferson is that great. He had Trey McBride, and he had Jerry Rice on the team. He just didn't throw him the ball. And last year, in his 5 healthy games, he was averaging 35 rushing yards a game, and yet never finished as a top 15 quarterback. Like he gave you a baseline of rushing, and the other stuff was just so not there statistically that he wasn't anything more than a QB2.
I mean, he fits all the like characteristics of somebody who, if he just plays competently, he's pretty good for fantasy. But when you said that like 55% of his games he was above this mark, I was like, and what were 92% of those his first half of his career? It's just, what is the true Kyler Murray now? Obviously, they made the decision early, like this is going to be the dude.
Yeah,
and I think Jefferson said this is going to be the dude.
I remember us watching film. It's so hard to remember, like going week by week last year. When Kyler was playing a couple weeks into the season, a month, 5 weeks into the season, we kept watching this Arizona Cardinals scheme and seeing them basically try to get the ball to Marvin Harrison, except they just ran him down the field so long where he didn't turn around. You remember watching this, Andy, and it was like, what are we doing? Like, you're not scheming anyone open. He didn't have someone to pass to.
You're more of a like a Petsing blaming of Kyler Murray. You
Correct.
think that the Kevin O'Connell fixes it?
I do. I really do. I honestly, I think we have so much history of Arizona Cardinals players who are good, who flame out here, go to someone else that, to another team, and they're like, oh, wow, they're really, really good. The Cardinals organization is not a serious organization.
Agreed.
I thought you thought it was.
I have never thought that. How dare you?
We think they're unserious. All right, I'm jumping in. Unfortunately, a Jordan Tyson injury has made me have to at least pull back a bit of my love for Tyler Shuck. But I think that he's the answer to this question. If especially if you're like, hey, second half, if Jordan Tyson is back by the second half, then, oh my gosh, I'm going to be very interested in Tyler Shuck, who is being drafted as the quarterback 22, despite last year, weeks 14 through 18. And remember, Tyler Shuck didn't start playing until, like halfway through the year. Weeks 14 through 18, so we're talking a 5-game span to end the season, completing 70% of his passes, giving you 27 rushing yards per game. That's not an elite level, but that's perfectly fine. Give you a nice little boost to the floor. And he was averaging 20 fantasy points per game, which all that stuff I talked about Kyler Murray, he never hit 20 in that time period of last year for the Arizona Cardinals. Among 28 rookie quarterbacks over the past 5 years who qualify, so they have had 100 or more pass attempts. Second in completion rate, fourth in passing yards per game, sixth in yards per attempt, and he's got Kellen Moore, who kicks the pace up. We get extra plays. He did all of this stuff without Jordan Tyson. He still has Olave. He still has Johnson at the beginning of the season to be what I would assume is the number 2 weapon. And then if Jordan Tyson can get back, I think that Tyler Shuck becomes a quarterback waiver wire pickup that someone picks up week 6 or so for a streaming option. And you're like, oh, that was pretty good. Oh, that was pretty good. And then we just ride it till the end of the season. I believe so much in the prospect of Tyler Shuck becoming a true franchise quarterback.
Well, it would be fun. I mean, we need some new icons at the quarterback position for the next 10 years, and I'd love to see that team and Kellen Moore and those receivers have that talent. The schedule looks all right, and I'll be curious.
They are such a fun offense. I really hope it works out because just like you're saying, Andy, it's like it'd be so good for the NFL to look at the Saints as like, oh, I want a piece of that.
I am going with Baker Mayfield as my pick here for the 2026 version of Trevor Lawrence, who, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence might have been.
He was reverse Trevor Lawrence last year.
I was going to say Trevor Lawrence might have been the 2025 version of Baker Mayfield. That's what's funny about it. Like Baker was the quarterback 3 in 2024. He also ran for 378 yards, and
he also had Liam Cohen.
Remember last offseason, you're like, he's not running for that amount of yards again. Yeah, he did. I mean, he did. He ran for more. He ran for 382 yards. I think you can look at Baker and understand that this guy is going to take off. He is shiftier than he looks and finds his way down the field. I mean, he literally ran for more yards per attempt.
It's good because he kind of looks like a potato.
I know. A slippery potato, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been peeled.
Slippery potato, Baker Mayfield. But look, he has that capability.
Potato.
Baker was the quarterback 4 last year through the first 6 weeks.
Oh.
So he was right back on. He was the MVP candidate. Then you get Evans injury, Abuka injury, Baker injury, line injuries, and it fell apart. And, you've got Baker playing. I mean, who wears their emotions and their grudges on their shoulder more than Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Well,
he's great.
He's presently disrespected and undervalued and not under contract for next season.
And week 1 matchup at Cincinnati, 51.5 over-under.
I think these guys are going to, maybe he just takes it back. If Lawrence was the 2024 Baker, then Baker might be the 2026 Lawrence. That is my pick for the fantasy time machine. So
I like it.
We will take one more break here, and then we're going to try to find the 2026 version of Jerry Rice. All right, we're back.
I
And
thought the 2026 Jerry Rice was Davante Adams, according to
me,
to your post.
I might, after acquiring Javonte Adams in one of our leagues, pointed out the statistical numbers for a 33-year-old Jerry Rice. Yeah.
You still feeling good about that?
I am feeling good about Adams, not those numbers, but I'm feeling good about Adams because I just, if he's healthy, I don't know how he doesn't score a bunch. That's whether he's great elsewhere. But no, the 2026 Jerry Rice, Mike, I don't know if you remember. It's this guy named Michael Wilson.
I do remember.
Of the Arizona Cardinals. So, you're looking at a non-rookie wide receiver that was buried on a depth chart for years. Could break out in 2026.
Jason, you can't.
I'll go last.
If
you
given
can't do
the
this to my
opportunity.
heart.
I don't even know who Jason picked.
Good. Don't look.
I'll get mine out of the way.
Okay. Don't look
Because
at
I feel like
Hawkins.
mine fits the mold for
Yours is the best. I went to put in your name
I'm
again.
not going to scroll down because I don't want to know who Jason's is.
Yeah.
This is non-rookie wide receiver buried in the depth chart. Could break out if given opportunity, but has never really done it. Last year, Michael Wilson was undrafted, finished as the wide receiver 11. The name I'm going to bring up. You like mine, Jason?
I do. I literally went in the doc to put in this name.
So Monty
both
and
Monty
him?
and Jalen. Yeah.
That's good. It's Jalen Coker.
Yeah.
Wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers. Basically undrafted. If he's drafted, it's 13th, 14th round. Did you know that he had 4 top 24 finishes in his final 7 games, Jalen Coker? He's a very, very good player.
Mm-hmm.
And he's back and he's healthy, and he was rewarded with a 3-year contract extension. A lot of you are like, who is that? Because our producer may have said his name wrong at one point in time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Jalen Coker he's just one of those guys you watch play and
Change
you're like,
the vowel sound.
yeah, vowels. I've learned vowels.
Yeah,
are
they're pretty important.
Vowels are effective when it comes to what impact they have on speech. I think that Jalen Coker is going to be an every down player all year long. He's always shown the talent. He's dealt with injuries. He's completely undrafted. And I know Bryce Young is there, but look, nobody expected what happened last year with Michael Wilson. That's the point, right? You don't expect the math to math.
Of course.
But I think Jalen Coker has a chance to be that super. This is what you're talking about at the top about what kind of sleepers you have to find now.
Yes.
You need to find a guy who, 100, like almost 100% probability is that he fails.
Right.
But I think Coker is a really talented player, and I think the team bought in and they realize what he represents to the depth chart, and we'll see what happens with McMillan moving around in the slot. But like, Coker is competitive, like at the point of attack, at the catch. Like, he's a big dude. I love him.
Yeah. If
By the way,
Bryce-
12 targets, 9 for 134-1 in the playoff game they almost won against the Rams.
If Bryce were to step up and continue progressing through his young career, I believe Coker would be very good.
Yeah, when you're looking at late round shots, like, it helps when you feel like the player's good.
Yes, I think that's the most important part.
Because there's late round guys that are like, that guy stinks.
That's a huge part of my argument. So you're up, Mike.
I don't know if you think your guy is good or stinks, but I'm going to go with, hey, look, another guy I drafted at the end, the very, very end of yesterday's mock draft, Dontavian Wicks, who is going even later than Jalen Coker in drafts. I see an ADP of a wide receiver, 73. Wicks has had some issues, catching the ball. When he was over there on the Green Bay Packers, he was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, where it looks like he is locked in as a starter. The beat reporters, he has locked down the number 2 spot opposite Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. Wicks is a steal. I don't know how we got him. And then Nick Sirianni, the way they are off the line of scrimmage, the way they are at the top of the route, the way they are with the ball with the hands, it reminds me of, Keenan Allen. And they're all talking about Dontavian Wicks, who, when he's been on the field, the catching has been a little bit of a bugaboo, which is not great for a wide receiver. But the targets have been there because the guy just gets open. Targets per route run.
We've had plenty of hyped waiver wire weeks where Wicks was the pickup. Didn't deliver as much as we hoped, but there was a reason for it.
Yeah,
because the talent.
Because targets per route run, 23% in 23, 30% in 24, 21% in 2025. For context, over the last 3 years, he's been targeted on a per route basis more frequently than Zay Flowers, Christian Watson, and George Pickens. Like, this guy has gotten the targets. he was not ready for his opportunity. I think what if he is? What if he's ready for the opportunity now with A.J. Brown out of town and being the true number 2, where Mekhi Lemon that's the sexy player. That's the first round pick. He slithers around.
Stowers and Lemon, we talk about hype trains in the offseason.
Stowers is...
If a hype train could go backwards, the Lemon-Stowers combination of replacements for A.J. Brown,
it's just derailment.
Yes.
What they've done this offseason is to make me like Dontavian Wicks and Dallas Goedert. That's what those two guys have done.
Yeah.
Which, there's still hope for Lemon.
For sure.
But when you miss so much of camp, it's like those are really, really important reps for a player that's never played in the NFL. I think Lemon, it will take more time. And in that period of time, Wicks could emerge and be a true threat for this team. So I like him at the end of your draft.
All right. My turn.
I saw it.
Oh, you did?
I looked.
You
ruined
loser.
it.
I know.
Come on. If
That way I can
we
keep
would
my
have
stomach contents.
If we would have said last year, Michael Wilson will have a breakout, it would have been like, what are you talking about?
This
guy has done nothing.
Good start to this one.
He's done nothing.
You would have been like, he's crazy for saying that.
I went team by team and looked at every single depth chart to try to figure out.
I love this, but I hate it.
To try to figure out who could,
Don't give
truly
me hope.
emerge as a team's wide receiver 1 that is unexpected, that is not. And the truth is, most teams have such a stud at wide receiver, or at least such a solidified guy that the Cardinals last year, we had hope. Oh, Marvin Harrison maybe he will be it.
Mike, if he can get through this without ever saying the name, he's in
Well,
good
he's
shape.
got to set it up.
He's in
I
good
got to
shape.
set this up.
I know, but maybe never say it and just close
So
the show out.
I went team by team to try to see which situation could have someone surprising emerge. And the team that stood out to me was the Raiders.
Makes total sense.
I mean, you got your Trey McBride and Brock Bowers.
And you were like Jalen Naylor for sure.
I was. I put Jalen Naylor in.
Oh,
and
did
then
you really?
I really did. I was like, the team makes sense. And then I was like,
He's
just
too
not
good.
Jalen Naylor's just not good enough. We have seen enough of him to know he's not that dude. Trey Tucker, then I was like, let me look at him. I was like, he's got his flashes, but he's a bitty baby boy. He's not going to actually emerge. But you know who I think is a good wide receiver?
Yeah. Who?
Jack Besh, baby.
What did he say?
Jack Besh.
You would. I mean, it's
I
good
can
that
hear
somebody
Kyle
does.
giggling in the back.
Yeah. I recognize this is insane.
Brother, there's insane, and then there's what you're doing right now.
You didn't have to do
Yes.
this.
But I'm doing it. I really do think that if the opportunity is given to Jack Besh.
Okay.
No, but that's what Michael Wilson needed,
No,
right?
I know. I know.
Michael Wilson
But it won't be.
didn't have the opportunity. When Marvin Harrison got injured, he was forced into that opportunity. If Jack Besh is given the opportunity and plays snaps, I mean, he's basically solidified his role as
Kyle can't stop laughing. This would be amazing if we ended the show on a slow fade, like down to no volume right now. Jason just keeps talking about Jack Besh till we fade out.
He's a much better fit in Kubiak's system. Beat reporters saying he has won the starting slot role. JSN was doing work from the slot last year. And the truth is,
Let's buy in, Mike.
I think Besh is a good player. I mean,
I was never out.
Mike and I love
don't
Jack
think
Besh
he's
as a
good
collegiate
enough. Yeah.
player.
But hey.
We'll see if he can get on the field. It's obviously a very deep.
You don't like Malik Benson over there?
No, I can see it. I think Jack Besh could come out of nowhere.
I mean, what a great chance to victory lap this someday.
Yeah.
On the show, on the exact show,
This year's JSN.
where was that? This is CNN joke?
No.
Oh, okay. Where the exact show where we were kind of poking fun at the George Halani bros.
Yes, we got the Besh bros.
The best. Well, I mean,
You and Kyle.
we in fact are. No, Betts is in there too. But yeah, he is. Like, we are the entirety. We are the Besh Bros. It's
The
just,
four of us.
It's just
Not
the
always the
handful
best
of us.
decision you've made.
It's just us in this building. We will keep believing until he is out of the league.
Okay.
Give him the
Which
opportunity.
is probably next
Cubes.
year.
More okay. I'm gonna put you on the spot for a real tough question, Mike.
Oh, Gersh. Okay.
We were talking about, we did a show 10 years ago, right? So 10 years from now, we look back from today and we say to ourselves, who has more career receptions, Ben Sinnott or Jack Best?
Oh, to this point?
No, from here on out.
Oh,
I don't
from
mean
here.
give me the numbers of what's actually happened.
Oh,
it's a prediction. Yeah, he's like,
Let me look.
Well, no, I wasn't going to look, but I was
end
saying
of
off
their
the top of my
careers.
head,
End of their careers.
who will finish with more receptions?
Which player has more total receptions?
It's easy peasy.
It's Besh.
Of course it's Besh.
It's Jack
He's
Besh.
the best man can get.
Oh,
I thought you were going to give me the 10-year question. I was like, oh, that's easy. Drake May.
Oh.
The current head-to-head numbers, I have them. Jack
That's what,
Best,
I don't even know.
Jack Best with 20 total career
Oh, that's
receptions.
more than Ben.
And Ben Sinnott with 16 total receptions.
You're not counting that. Didn't he have a catch?
I
like,
think
in
there's a term
the
limit for that
playoffs?
senator. I don't think it's going to happen. We have a live show tonight, so bold predictions episode tomorrow, ballerslive.com. Upcoming shows.
Get ready for Ben Sinnott projections.
Final preseason
Predictions.
takeaways, roster cut news, players we're afraid to be wrong about. A final mock draft next week, an MVP, that's right, a fantasy MVP episode with tons of special guests sharing their fantasy football MVPs. That's coming next week as well. So much going on right now. Make sure you're prepped up for your draft with the Ultimate Draft Kit at ultimatedraftkit.com. Has mock draft tools this year. And we'd love to see you in the Megala Bowl at megalabowl.com. Otherwise, we're gonna say goodbye and save the voices because we've got a live show to do tonight. It is time for the Megala show this evening, and we'll catch you on Monday.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.